going to be on behalf of the workers who are going to vote to ratify. I'm hopeful that they see these historic terms as a really great sign and great for their families. But it's the next step is it's the workers to ratify. So I'm hopeful that we can get to that point and get back to work making the best vehicles on the planet.
It raises the standard of living of thousands of Detroiters who work in these plants. It's a great thing, and it also assures that the companies have a long-term contract that they can live with. And right now, GM, Ford, and Stellantis are building supplier plants in Detroit at rates that I've never seen. It was really important to us. They remain competitive, and I think they've got a solution that will work for the companies and definitely is better for the workers.
All right, we are hearing now from the governor and also Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan, who are certainly glad that we've hopefully come to some kind of deal with the strike now behind us. We are joined now in studio by Mike Strong, who is with Headlight.News and has covered the industry extensively. Thank you for being here with us.
No problem.
So when you initially heard what the UAW was asking for, it was pretty substantial. What were your initial thoughts?
I'd have been shocked had they gotten it what they wanted. That's really they were asking for the moon. And I think when you start a negotiation, you certainly do want to shoot for the moon. And I think they very wisely kind of set the bar really high and then slid it in under it. But still, the deal they got was very impressive. I mean, there's huge gains.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen the back and forth and as they've tried to negotiate and come to some kind of middle ground. Your thoughts on what this will do to those big three automakers, because they have had to offer quite a bit?
Well, that's the wait and see part of it, isn't it? You know, Ford said that they were going to need to, was going to put in $850 to $900 in costs for the car. And they're going to have to figure out how to get that back out. Otherwise, in theory, that money rolls down to you and I and whoever else is buying a vehicle. That'll be the big wait and see is, will they be able to, you know, deal with these costs, keep them from getting into people's pocketbooks while also investing heavily into EVs and battery development and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I know that those workers have a reason to ask for these things, but considering that down the line, this could hit everyone in the pockets when they're out trying to buy a car, maybe get some repairs done. Your thoughts on just that ripple effect later?
Well, I think, you know, we've all had a little bit of experience lately with rising costs of cars. I mean, just for all kinds of other factors, the cost of cars have gone up 30% in the last, you know, four years. I sort of wonder if anybody's going to really notice another $500 on a new car after a while. You sort of become numb to it. But I think the big thing is you want to be able to make sure that you have a good return on that investment that they're putting in. And with them switching over to EVs, they at least now have a workforce that seems willing and able to make that transition.
Mike, this is a big win for those UAW workers. Do you see this as a loss for the big three, or do you see this as a potential win for them at some point too?
Well, you know, I think it's a short-term loss, but a long-term gain. A happy workforce, or maybe not a happy workforce, but a well-paid, interested workforce makes higher quality vehicles in theory. And I think that as long as they're working hard, you get to then devote your resources, both intellectually and financially, in other areas to make better products, make newer EVs that travel farther, and ultimately net the company more money on their bottom line.
Yeah. Did you see the automakers bending as much as they did initially?
No. No, I think that Sean Fain should be patted on the back for getting a 25% wage increase. I thought that they would get double digits, but if somebody had told me 25% at the beginning of it, I'd have taken that bet.
Yeah, and obviously this is going to be a benefit for the workers, but do you think that this is too much on behalf of the automakers, just in terms of business?
Well, you know what? No, I don't think so. I think when you look at the amount of money that automakers are making and where it's going, they've done everything that they've needed to do to make shareholders feel good. They're investing heavily in new products that are moving the companies forward. I don't see any problem with giving some of that back to the people who were, you know, putting the nuts and bolts in the cars that make, you know, that make them go down the road.
Yeah, we waited a long time even just to get to this point of talks of a tentative deal. Do you see them ratifying this one?
Oh yeah, I think there's a small contingent of workers who feel like this is their first really good deal. Let's shoot it down, and because there's got to be more to give. But you're talking about the temporary workers and the second tier workers who are going to get 60, 70, 80% pay increases in short order, and they make up huge numbers. And you only need 50% plus one. So I think these will go through.
And I know a lot of those workers are still concerned, some of them even saying tonight that they feel like the devil's in the details. Just moving forward in the future with the next round of contracts, what does this now do for that? How does this impact the future of negotiations?
Well, I think actually what you saw Sean Fain hit on it earlier, it's not going to be the big three in theory. You've got to see what Honda and Mercedes and Nissan and all those transplants are now going to do with their non-union workers. In the past, they've been pretty competitive on wages of this, that, and the other. Now you need them to go and offer all these people 25% wage increases, cost of living adjustments, and that sort of thing. How are they going to respond to that? And is the union now on an uptick to gain those car makers that are based in the southeastern United States that would really expand the union and, quite frankly, give them more power?
Yeah, there is a lot to still watch and wait for. Mike Strong, thank you for your insight.
No problem.